Hello, hello. Welcome back to Password. And I don't know. Dave had a rough day last time, didn't he? Wanted to go for a nice relaxing walk in the woods, and then suddenly he's like attacked and almost murdered by a rabbit. Like, weird things. If I had to describe it, it felt like falling. Okay. Yeah, if I had to describe it, it felt like falling. Not through air or through water, but something in between. Maybe like jelly. And then Hoist said, "Why the long face? Priceless, right?" Huh? What? My hands scrambled over my front. My breathing picked up. Where was I? What happened? You know, 'cause he was a horse? No, not that. I mean, because horses have long faces. No, Dad, stop. What did I do? I thought you'd like that joke. I was in the woods? Right, and Jack was there. Yeah. And what else, Dave? Dad, where are we? Well, you know me, always getting lost. I started to back away, but my feet felt like they were encased in cement. Not only that, but with each step felt as though I wasn't really touching the ground, slipping somehow. You never get lost. Don't I? Well, guess there goes that cover. He began to convulse, body writhing and arms moving in unnatural angles until he fell stiff. You! Hello, Dave. Shall we pick up where we left off? I started to pull in my ears, feeling sick. I could feel my heart rate pick up, although something was wrong. It was numb, somehow. Like it wanted to beat faster, but something was stopping it. What I did know, though, was that it hurt. Leave me alone. Not gonna run this time? Think Benson is going to come save you? This isn't real. I made it back. Did you? You wanted to die before. Why not now? A wave of guilt washes over me when I couldn't think of an answer, and Jack approached, his knife almost disappearing from his hand as he approached. First the cliff by the road, then the river. Maybe you stuck around because you hoped something bad would happen. No, I just thought, what? That some loser in the woods actually needed your help? Well, yeah, I could be plenty helpful. Like your dad? Oh, right. Real helpful like your dead dad, Dave. When I looked around, I was sitting on the sofa while Jack looked around the room, as if he knew the place. Be honest with yourself, Dave. Your dad was a hero. The police officer. Your mother, an accomplished surgeon. But you, a child? I'm more than that, aren't I? Are you? Compared to your friends, you're nothing special. Even Tyson has more going for him, and he dropped out of school. I've got to be. And what if you can't? What if I can't? Maybe you're better off dead. Yeah. Maybe I'm better off dead. That's it, Dave. It'll all be over soon. I lifted my head to look up at him, and he approached me with the knife. I was frozen to the spot, and I could feel something pricking at my neck. It felt so natural. My breathing picked up, along with my heartbeat. All as I closed my eyes and waited for Jack to do what he almost did in the forest. Some part deep down expected a gunshot, but I knew it wouldn't come. Just give up, Dave. Let what happens happen. I sat up suddenly in bed. My head went to my chest, and I was already breathing hard. I felt hot, and what I hoped was just sweat was sweaty as my eyes darted around the room. Where was I? What happened? What time is it? My mind was still racing with what happened in the forest, how I'd gotten uh, back in barely what would have happened if I'd only been a little slower. I gulped, hand going to my neck right where I could feel the edge of the blade of Jack's knife threatening my throat. As my fingers tightened around my neck, I wheezed in panic for what I'd only just avoided. Everything just seemed to be a dream, or at least I hope so, struggling to piece together what had happened to end up in my room. The door opened. Roswell kept his eyes averted as he closed the door, as far as resting his head on it before talking to me. Thank God you're alive. He sighed, turning to me and making his way over. I kind of hoped you'd still be asleep because, well, this is gonna be hard to ask. I shifted over to so he could sit down on the bed, but even then he couldn't take up that much room. How are you holding up? Roswell scratched his head, fiddling with his hands as he tried to figure out what to say. I suppose I should start with, you're safe, I guess. Not that we found that rabbit. I tightened my chest. The tightening in my chest made itself known as the panic came back. No, Dave, it's all right. Benson's been on the warpath trying to find him, and we've seen hide nor... Well, that's what he's told Oswin anyway. I felt sick, and I doubled over in bed. That's when I realized that I wasn't wearing my hoodie, and I patted myself down looking for what I'd found in the woods. When you blacked out, we couldn't leave you in the foyer. That's when something fell out of your pocket, and Haas snatched it up. Dean and Tyson put you in bed after. Seemed to have a long discussion about what had happened among themselves over it. What had happened? Part of it lingered fresh in my mind from my dream. It made me quake and whine while I sat there. Dave, what's been happening with you? I only ask because, well, the moment people realize you're awake, we all have questions for you. Like, where did you go? Why? Who was that? I wheezed, grip tightening on my chest. Sorry, I'm just worried. What if my best friend had died? What if Oswin had overdosed you with... Well, sure, it's only sodium, word, but... But he also said that it has some hypnotic properties. Look, did you want me to go? I can just pretend that you're still asleep, but someone's going to get you out of bed at some point. I look up, shooting me a smile so fleeting it may as well have never happened. I'm glad you're alive, Dave. Hopefully, you feel better soon. Roswell got up off the bed and wandered over to the door, closing it behind him. I could hear him talking to someone just on the other side of the door before continuing on his way. I lay back down, sighing out. I was happy that I was alive, or at least I assumed so. Maybe I was just thankful that I was alone again. Turning over, I cuddled my pillow and tried not to think of anything, but it was always the same through thought process, wondering what if and if I really should have survived. It'd been twice I'd considered dying then and there, so was it now that my life was directly threatened? I knew I didn't want to die. I sighed, quivering in bed. It wasn't because I knew better. At some point I blacked out again, swimming in my thoughts. Had the drug really been that potent, or was I just exhausted that I couldn't tell anymore? It was almost like I was floating, sinking down into an inky black, like it was an ocean meant only for me. My street came into view just as I remembered it. there wasn't really any issue with me going outside to play growing up. I I liked outside for the most part. Next door, what used to be Roswell's house was still there. Although I never went inside, it was always easier to have him come inside given how often Dad was around to make sure we stayed out of trouble. Speaking of, Tyson's house was several doors down and looked much the same after so many years. Tyson had changed, but his house sure didn't. Orlando had come over. Haas too, if only recently. Sal was probably the only one that hadn't been over. Not that it really was much to show these days. Hell, even Dean had driven to pick me up on one of our outings, but never had the nerve to come inside, or maybe he was just wanting for an invitation that I never thought to offer. But the days of people coming over were long over. Shy of Tyson, who'd come over to keep me company, I'd rather not be in the house. To keep me company, I'd rather not be in the house. The living room was one place I didn't like to spend my time anymore. I hurried through it on my way to the kitchen, or from the front door to my room upstairs. Then there was my room, a comfy bed, an adjoining bathroom, my desk littered with different pots of paint. Yeah, not that I used any of the colors these days. I wasn't colorblind, or at least I don't think I am. Some years ago, when I was noticed Mom and Dad acting different around one another, some of them just started to look the same. Not that it didn't stop me getting things in different colors. I liked color. I kept a few special things I'd collected in the top drawer of my desk, all in various shades of blue, but these days they all look the same. Dad. I turned around and there he was, standing in the doorway of my bedroom, looking proud of himself. Why do you have to die? There wasn't an answer to the question, but I asked it anyway. He couldn't answer, and instead all I could see was the face he pulled when he wasn't sure of something and worried that he was letting me down. My friends might coddle me, but I paid attention to what people felt. What they did when they were sad, maybe not as good as Haas was at picking out how people were behaving, but I knew basic things. It was a question that was stumping me from the moment I was told. Maybe I just refused to answer in favor of just hoping Dad would end up coming home. If I wasn't broken enough, the cemetery finished me off. The only thing I can think of from that day is how Mom looked at the tightness of Ty's hand holding mine. It's funny, given until now, I hadn't considered that maybe I hadn't cried then. I knew Mom didn't, so maybe without Dad, I just copied what she was doing because I didn't know how to process what was happening. When I woke up, I felt different. Not better, just different. Sitting up, I swung my legs over to the side of the bed and rubbed my head, rasping out another breath before pushing myself to my feet. I put on a shirt and in a daze, slumped there on the floor of my room, staring at the ceiling. Ugh. If I left, I'd be asked questions I didn't want to answer. Not that I was waiting long before the door opened. Dave? Oh, good. What happened? Why are you on the floor? Oh God. What happened? Yeah, okay. I sat up slowly, looking at him. Orlando was nice, a great friend, and a lovely shade of yellow. I couldn't smell the cinnamon, so maybe I was still dreaming. He came to sit next to me on the floor, carefully moving my head around so he could look at me. Are you okay? I didn't have the heart to tell him, knowing that I couldn't say anything positive, leaving my answer as a gradual look towards the floor and a sigh. Well, I'm happy you're alive. Once again, I left his comment without a reply, instead watching him stand back up and then to the hand he offered out to me. Come on, let's head downstairs. Everyone will want to, He trailed off, slowly easing back his hand. Okay. It was all I could say. Anything more, and I was afraid that I'd start coughing. If I could ask for anything, it'd be water. But I relished the excuse to not have to say anything, and wanted to hold on to it as long as I could. Reaching out for Orlando, he offered me a hand, and I took it gingerly. It was warm, and he propped me up, so I was standing. Dave, He sighed out, visibly torn between wanting to hug me and give me space. They're waiting. Each step I took felt heavy. With Orlando standing beside me, he said nothing else. Instead, just lingered nearby, just in case. Maybe if I fell over. Maybe he was sent to ensure I arrived. I didn't know. As we got closer, I could hear the others talking among themselves. From their tones, it seemed like a serious discussion, if in hushed tones. Maybe in case I overheard them, but for the most part, I was processing it as white noise. Then I arrived in the dining room, causing a hush to fall over the group. Everyone was here, although it seemed Oswin was lingering in the back, looking thoughtful about something. My friends, though, each wore a look of worry as I looked at each of them in turn. There was a tightness in my chest, lingering even as I crossed the floor to sit down in the chair reserved for me. I kept my eyes on the table, waiting for what was to happen. I caught Haas patting Orlando on the shoulder as he approached, sighing out. All right, there's no easy way to say this, Dave. But what happened yesterday? That's not funny. You scared the hell out of all of us, and well, we're all lucky you're still here. Remaining quiet, I opted instead to look at everyone else, finding each of them catching my eye before looking away. You make a show of going off and and no one caring. Then you do it again yesterday and almost die coming back? None of us knew what was going on, but you've changed since we arrived. Why? I know. This was my idea but I don't think you'd grill him so hard when you'd agree, Haas. Did you not catch the part where he almost died, Roswell? It's bad enough that our cell phone reception has been cut off for whatever reason. I hadn't thought to check my phone, but carefully my hand went to my pocket, finding that I'd left my phone upstairs. If there was no reception anymore, how were we meant to call for help? Call from help from him? I don't mean anything by it, but maybe you should be a bit more gentle. Look at him. Now they were talking like I couldn't understand them. My eyes went to Dean, and he quickly looked away, instead looking to Haas. Just, come on. You can be nicer about it, Haas. Fine. Dave, what's been going on? No one's told me anything, so I'm left here to figure this all out, but yes, after yesterday. I guess it's because it's not ours to tell. And can I just say how bullshit that is? I'm sorry, but if my friend is upset, hurting, or even dying, it sucks that I just have to sit by and watch because everyone's too something to fill me in on it. Drop it, Haas. I will not. Look at him. He's sitting there in a daze, and who can blame him? He barely escaped death. Gets dragged the moment he gets inside, and gets drugged the moment he gets inside. And does anyone remember the last time he ate? Days. At least not unless he's been sneaking food when no one else is around. Right? Sal catches my eye, and I shield away. He was right, and even now I wasn't all that hungry. Am I going crazy, or is no one else nearly enough worried about this? Fine, he's sad. We'll just pick him back up. Dude, he's sad. That's the best you can do? Ty tenses up, and I tried to catch his eye. Instead, he just stared Haas down to little effect. Well, Dave, mind explaining this? In plain view of everyone, Haas set down the syringe and bottle I'd found in the woods on the table. Well? Oswin marches his way down the length of the room. The moment Haas had finished talking, he moved with purpose, swiping up both and turning it over on his head. What in the world? How did you get this? I went to explain, but couldn't find the words. It was easy to say that I just found them in the woods, but the words just didn't come. Bah, it's fine. I'll go run a test on the vial to see if what's on the label matches up. Benson, if you would give me a hand, I feel like this talk is won best without us present. Very well, sir. Take as long as you need with your talk. The two of them left, taking with them what I found in the woods away, but not before everyone had a good chance to see exactly what Haas had presented. Please, tell me that wasn't what fell out of Dave's pocket. But I don't understand. Where? Why do you have something like this? Did you go out to the woods to use it to... You didn't. Dave, talk to us. Did you try to... No, I refuse to believe it. Dave wouldn't kill himself. Suicide? I hung my head in shame. How far does one have to go in order to have tried? Had I ever tried or just thought about it? Well, it sure looks like he tried. Why else would he try injecting himself with a disease? I don't know. Have we all been bad friends? Haas sighed out, running his hands through his mane. This can't be our fault. At least not entirely, right? I'd like to think Dave would tell us if we did something. Right, but he hasn't, so maybe this is just a big misunderstanding. Maybe, but he is right here. No need to talk about him like he's not. I may as well have not been... with how the words remain lost somewhere in my head. What was there to say? What possible excuse could I have had? I closed my eyes and sighed out, and quietly, while the others continued to talk, there wasn't much to say, just bickering about why I had what I had and speculating on if I had planned to kill myself. They were worried, panicking that they were about to lose me, maybe. I just wish I wasn't already lost in my own head, that I could tell them that I was all right. It's all right. Let them go, Dave. Let them die. Let whatever happens, happen. Those words again. The first ones uttered by someone that sounded like Dad, and they were comforting. Maybe it was just the reassurance that things were okay. Maybe it was the permission that I was allowed to not be on constant guard. The second, though, I couldn't place the voice, but it was familiar. Maybe not Dad or even Mom, but maybe more like me? I wasn't sure. I opened my eyes again, looking at the others. Tyson had Haas by the scruff, and in turn, Dean had his... They were fighting over something someone said, I think. Roswell was holding his nose, and Orlando was rubbing his back, all the while Sal acted as a barrier between them and the other three. Sorry. All at once they stopped to stare at me, and once more my eyes went down to the table. Don't worry about it, Dave. Well, hang on. I want to know what he's sorry for. He apologized. Leave him alone. We're not getting into this again. We can't help him if he doesn't let us in. But you can't force it. What if you just make it worse? I clenched my chest, feeling like my heart beat faster from the stress. What could I say? What would make all this stop? Unless you're going to explain what's wrong with him, then I'm going to keep pushing until I can latch onto something that'll let me help him. I looked to Tyson, pleading with him silently. I couldn't be the one to explain. If I did, it'd make it more real. You sure? He had his eyes on me, waiting for me to do something, hinting one way or another. All it took was a nod, and he sighed out, scratching his head. Shit. I don't think I'd have to be the one to do this, but all right. See, the thing is... I didn't need to listen to Ty's version of it. I could remember it all vividly in my head, like it happened only a couple minutes ago. It was like any other day, really. I just didn't think it'd become so bad as bad as it is. Dave, mind giving me a hand for a sec? But Dad, TV. Since when did TV trump your old man? I laughed, grinning broadly as I lay back on the sofa. I don't know, TV is pretty good. I wandered out of the kitchen to stand in the doorway. Dad wandered back into the kitchen, leading on the doorway, into the lounge room? Okay. Oh, is it now? Come on, champ, please. Well, only because he said please. We both laughed and I got up off the sofa, wandering closer. I remember him throwing his arm over my shoulder as I got close enough and we wandered into the kitchen. What did you need, Dad? I'm trying to find the takeout menus. What, that's all? They should be in the bottom drawer. That's what I thought, but they aren't there. Maybe Mom moved them. She better not have moved them. She's picky enough as it is, and I had quite a collection going to make sure there was variety. It'd be nice if we got to have another family meal together again. Usually it's just me and Ty. Sometimes you, if Mom's around, it's just her and me. Well, you know how work is for both of us. We'd love to be here, or at least I know I would be. After all, how would I not like spending time with my favorite son? Dad, I'm your only son. Well, I guess so. Maybe I should adopt Tyson so you have some they have some competition. Don't you dare. Again, we both laughed as he scoured the kitchen for the menus. I hadn't thought much about the statement until now. The thought of Tyson officially becoming family somehow felt right. Not that there was any chance of that really happening. What we had worked fine enough, and we didn't need to share a last name for it either. So, what are your plans for tonight? I'm assuming the same as usual. All caught up on homework, so maybe I'll get some paper and make something. Tyson still coming over? Was he always coming over? When is he not over, sport? Either way, I invited him over. Got stuff to ask him anyway. What kind of stuff? Guy stuff. Great, I'm a guy, so you can tell me too. Well... I stopped, looking for the menus to turn to him. He was scratching his chin and thinking it over. Maybe when you're older. Great. I'm a second older now, so do I qualify? Not yet. And now? Nope. How about now? So help me, David. I will turn this car around. Once again, we broke out into laughter. A laughing fit, and almost immediately I heard Dad's telltale gasp of triumph. Score one for Dad. Menus have been found. Aren't you at work tonight? Why are you looking for menus now, anyway? What, can't I buy my favorite son and his... I tilt my head in curiosity. Competition? Dad. What? Am I not allowed to treat you to some food if I want? That's one of the perks of being a dad, I'll have you know. I'm not going to turn down free food, but I don't know. Seems kind of strange. Do you even know what I want to order? Nope, but I can solve that by just getting everything I'd get. Well, if Ty's coming over, are we getting dinner for him too? Yep, can't ignore him going hungry now, can we? Of course not. Should I wander down and see if he's coming, or... You could just shoot him a message on your phone. But outside. Fine, but don't go getting hit by a car, or talk to strangers, or get lost, or set anything on fire. His house is just down the street. Awfully suspicious that you're not readily promising a police officer that you won't go causing trouble. Well, maybe I will go cause trouble. I'll put recycling in the trash and say mean words to someone. You dork, go on. Go see what Tyson's doing, and I'll see you in a bit. But please, don't go causing trouble. I know you won't, but gotta do the dad thing. I know, I promise, Dad. Just wandering down the street, I went without shoes. It was warm enough that, It was a warm enough day, and I walked to the path down to Tyson's house enough times that I could almost do it blindfolded. But like most times I had to be careful, mostly because his dad was someone that I didn't like to be around. He smelt funny and was mostly just angry. As chance would have it, though, Ty was just sitting outside on his front Ty! His ears perked up when he noticed me. Now, not that it was hard to miss, but he seemed to have been distracted with his phone. Oh, hey. What's going on? His phone went off, and he went to check it again before shoving it into his pocket. As for me, I leaned up to the fence watching him. Apparently I'm babysitting tonight. Well, hey, it's a job, right? Although, who'd let you babysit? Your dad, apparently. It took a second for the comment to sink in, and I huffed as Tyson got up and joined me for the walk back. Is your dad not around? Worked this morning, then promptly passed out drunk after an hour of getting home. If it didn't smell so strong inside, I'd let you hang out. Tempting, but alternatively, Dad's ordering us food for dinner. Oh yeah? What's he going with? Apparently what he'd order. He admitted he doesn't know what I'd normally want, so he's deciding for me. Dude, even you barely know what you want unless we order from that one place, and that only does fried chicken. Even when it's a pain getting you to pick what sauce packet comes with it. But there's so many. There's like 6, Dave. That's so many! Remind me not to suggest you pick first on anything ever, then. I'll get better at it eventually, just, I don't know. Why pick when all of the options are good? Dad, we're back. Oh, really? Yes? Yes. His eyes went from me to Tyson, still awkwardly standing in the doorway. Well, come in. No need to be that nervous. Hey, David. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance, Back. And to you as well, Mr. Back. It took a moment of him rubbing me vigorously on the head to clue in what he meant. No. Bad dad jokes, bad dad. I'm your best dad, I'll have you know. You're my only dad. Still counts. Ty closed the door behind him and shuffled past to stand in the middle of the living room. Instead of blocking the front entrance, we both watched as he then slumped back onto the sofa, rubbing his face. Hey, what's the matter, bud? Something got you down? Nah, I'm fine. Well, if that changes, just let me know. But for now, what do my 2 favorite guys want for dinner? Ty's face lit back up, his tail thumping on the sofa. What happened to picking what you'd order? But there were so many good options, I can't decide. God, you two are alike. Guess you're the one that gets to pick tonight, Tyson. What'll it be, champ? Dad hands over his neat stack of menus over to Tyson to look through while he turns to me. What do you think he's going to pick? I don't know, probably the chicken place. The one where they get all crispy and then dusted off with the seasoning salt, or the one that comes from the military rooster place. I can hear you, you know. Busted. All 3 of us laugh. I missed laughing that heartily, and nothing had really gotten me in the mood to do so in a long time. I'll leave you guys to it. I'm gonna get something done real quick, and I'll be back to place the order for dinner before I get to it ready for work. Alright, catch you in a bit. So, dinner. Hey, I'm still picking. Cut me some slack. He narrows it down to 2, the rest sitting off to the side of the coffee table. So, we're having chicken? Yes, there a problem with that? No, chicken is good. I like chicken. Well, good. We're getting chicken. And don't worry about the sauce. I've got it covered. Oh, well, cool. Now we just wait until Dad gets back. We headed upstairs to my room, and I collapsed on the bed while Tyson took the chair at my desk. So? What do you want to do tonight? I don't know. Didn't know you were coming over until Dad mentioned it. I'm basically always over. Why would that matter? You can play a game or something. I can watch watch a movie or something. I don't know. Is there anything you wanted to do? We could go out somewhere. Nah, I'd rather not go anywhere. Besides, if we've got food coming to us, there's no point. Suppose that's true. Well, how about we start with games? Watch a movie while we eat, and then go from there. I guess that works, sure. Ty, what's the matter? You're normally more, I remember struggling with what I wanted to phrase it without seeming mean. Granted, I should have known that even if I did say something mean, he would have turned it back on me. Nah, I'm fine. Just thinking about stuff. Yeah, cool stuff? Guy stuff. Oh, that's what Dad was talking about. Wait, he told you? Only that you two needed to talk about guy stuff, and he'd tell me when I was older. Fuck, don't scare me like that. What? It's not that bad, is it? I mean, you could talk to me about it too, if you wanted. Maybe when you're older. That's Dad's line. You can't pull that on me too. Well, too bad. I am. Suck it up. I rolled my eyes and sat up to look at him. Well, fine. Maybe I won't tell you about my guy stuff. I don't care who you're fucking. Hey, first of all, you totally do. Second, I haven't hooked up with anyone. Yeah? The whole saving yourself shtick? You sure your buddies haven't tried playing wingman for you yet? Maybe if I ask them. Maybe I just hadn't met the right guy yet, too. One look at your phone would tell me if you're being a perv, though. Huh, who's being a pervert? Dad leans in on the doorway to my room, looking at us. You two behaving? Yes, sir. Nope. Well, in that case, I'm gonna borrow the one of you that is behaving while I order dinner. What am I meant to just stay here? Yeah. We can't be that long, can we? Won't be long at all. Just gonna get our guy chat out of the way, and then we're good to go. Okay, we're doing it now? Sorry, bud. Better to chat about it now while we have time, given I have work. Already made you wait for it, and I'm not gonna feel right until you get a chance to get that stuff off your chest. This sounds a lot more serious than I thought it was going to be. Maybe only for a bit. It's a good chat, though. I can promise that much. Looking to Tyson, I saw him nodding, if only barely. Yeah, good talk. Shouldn't take too long, so just sit tight. They wandered off back downstairs, and I was left puzzled as to what they were going to talk about. It was something that I hadn't even thought to ask about to this day either. Other stuff that seemed more important. Or maybe not important, but for distracting. I wander over to my desk and look at my art supplies. Nothing really drew me as far as wanting to or working on something now. So I just pull out a square of paper and start folding. I'd gotten into origami when Orlando had given me a beginner set for my birthday one year, and liked how just by folding paper I'd be able to make stuff. There was a process, and while I wasn't great at it, I liked it, what I usually ended up with. The downside was that it typically took a while for me to get anywhere following the instructions with the book I had, and before I knew it, a whole hour had passed with me sitting there with just a single quadruped, if lopsided wolf. I wonder what's taking them so long. Had a lot of guy stuff to talk about, bucko. Dinner's all ordered, and Tyson's still downstairs. Promise that he's all yours now. We headed downstairs together, with Dad wandering off to the shower to get ready for work while I looked for Tyson. Tyson, where are you? There he was, sitting at the dining room table with a cup of coffee, and he looked upset. Ty? He turned to look at me, flashing me with a quick smile before drinking again from his cup. Hey. Sorry, didn't hear you. You doing all right? Yeah, I made you this while I waited, I guess. What's this? An origami wolf. Looks like it got hit by a car. Rude much? Hey, not my fault I call it like I see it. You, talked to Dad about guy stuff for long enough? Ty looked. I'd call it sad, but it was something more than that. Worried, maybe. Scared. I couldn't quite place it. Yeah. I joined him at the table, and we sat for the next a little bit while he finished his coffee. It was kind of nice, just waiting around, taking the afternoon slowly. Eventually, we'd have dinner, and it'd just be the same as any other day. All right, boys, I'm off. Ty was lazing on the sofa while Dad walked by, and they shared a mutual thumbs up before Dad went outside. Dad, wait up. He turned to me, looking much like Tyson did when I found him in the kitchen. What bothered me more was that he didn't say goodbye like he normally did. Maybe it was just a sign that I was growing up, but I liked seeing him off to work. I rushed to him, hugging him around the middle. You didn't say goodbye. Oh, Dave. He put his arms around me quickly, hugging me close and pressing his nose on top of my head. His breathing is deep and sighed out, rubbing my back. I love you, kiddo. I love you too, Dad. Have a good night at work. As he eased back, I did too, but he lingered, holding the back of my head and pressing his forehead to mine. I will. And Dave? Yeah? Keep Tyson out of trouble. He said all he needed to say, and before I knew it, I was leaning on the mailbox watching his car pull out of the driveway and disappearing down the street. The night went as well as it could have to a point. Tyson and I played games, ate dinner, and then just lounged around waiting until Dad got back. Chances were that we'd be up until the early hours of the morning, but I was keen to see him again. It was late, not nearly late enough, but the flashing red and blue lights clued me into Dad coming home. I was excited. I threw open the door to greet him home, but normally he'd switch the lights off before coming inside. I told myself he'd forgotten and that he was eager to come back inside to see me again. I remember Dad's police buddy coming to the door. Something was wrong, but maybe it was just to say that Dad had to stay late, or maybe he'd forgotten something. Maybe there was some misunderstanding. But no. Hoyt told me that Dad wouldn't be coming home. Not tonight. Not ever. There was a shooting and Dad got hit. Dad had been hit. By the time they'd gotten him to a hospital, it was too late. The words stunned me in a way that I couldn't process sound, scent, or color. Tyson was there, yelling maybe while I wandered back inside in a daze. Dad was dead. My dad was dead. Never to come home again. Never to say he loved me or be there when I was upset, scared, or frightened. Not ever again. I whined out, tugging at my ears. It seemed as though Tyson had finished telling his version of the story, and I stood, suddenly, kicking over the chair that I'd been in. It's not fair. I knew there would be stares, but I didn't care. I wanted to scream louder, but I just couldn't. Why did he have to? My knuckles went white under the fur. with how hard I was gripping the table while I whined again. Something inside me was throbbing, breaking, cracking, or even shattering into pieces. Why did... It was like a dam bursted, and my face became wet with every tear I hadn't shed since he died. I cried, unrestrained, and it hurt, deeper than anything else that had happened over the past few days. If there was a moment that I wanted to die, it would have been then, if only for the hope that I'd been able to see him again. I want my dad. Tyson pulled me closer, pulled me quickly to him and hugged me tight. It didn't stop the crying, but it gave me something to cling to, almost to the point I was threatening to pull out my fur. It must have hurt, but he didn't move. Instead, he just supported me in his awkward hug he'd put us in. And I wanted my brother back. Words were caught in my chest, and I found myself breathless with how he held me. Next was Dean, followed by Orlando, staying quiet but throwing their arms around us. Then was Haas and Roswell, not nearly hugging as hard as the other two, but I could feel them near as it was. Nice. It was helpful. It was helping. Sal was last, almost throwing his arms around everybody. And I just continued to bawl my eyes, and long after I lost the strength to stand. My heart had been breaking for over a year, and now it felt like I was holding what broken pieces were left in my hand, desperately hoping someone would help me put it back together. But slowly, I started to realize that maybe I'll be okay. Maybe not right now, but maybe someday. Surrounded by the warmth of my friends, I passed out again, exhausted and drained of everything that had just happened. But at least I felt at peace. I'm gonna end the part here. So see you around, everyone.